Gemini, your week commencing the 16th of June forecast suggests, with the square between Mars and Uranus and Jupiter and Saturn, which brought last week to a close, they're still very active as we go into this new week. Now Mars, since he returned to the sign of Leo on the 18th of April, has been encouraging you to share your ideas with passion and conviction, and why not? And of course the third house is very swift communication, which is very redolent of the energy of your sign. But the sign of Leo can be very prideful. However, Uranus has been a much more complex energy in your chart for far longer. Full time since March 2019 may have made it difficult to switch off at times. Subconscious energies linked to the electricity of Uranus reached a peak as these two squared on Sunday, and that could have seen you speak in a very emotional way, because that's the 12th house, but particularly towards a situation where you feel someone is not being upfront with you, perhaps not as loyal as they could be, and you may really enter this week feeling quite almost angered if you feel there has been some kind of betrayal. But equally, Jupiter is now in the part of your situation to do with the potential to improve your finances over the next year, or your sense of self-worth, or to really firm up the foundations of your life. But that's clashing with Saturn and Neptune in a part of your chart to do with your long-term plan or idealism. And there could be a link between these two synodic clashes. So if something isn't quite shaping up at the speed you want, or it feels that you're being blocked or prevented by a group of people or by conditions as they are at the present time, I don't feel that this week is necessarily going to provide the answers that you may want in totality, because Mars moves on Tuesday into your fourth house through to the 6th of August. But Mars in the fourth house can be quite prickly and quite emotional and quite up and down. It's going to be important not to be defensive. But the interesting thing is, Mars forges a very positive link to Jupiter throughout the rest of this week. So if you are someone who's wanting to do something around your home, perhaps make some improvements, get some contractors in, catch up on the do-it-yourself jobs that you've been putting off. Virgo is very much about virtue, so the thrust of Mars can be helpful. Or it's also possible that for some Geminis, you may be thinking of working from home, or in some ways selling or re-renting somewhere else that fits your purpose more exactly. But it's just that at the heart of this week there is a quarter moon, and it sees the moon in the sign of Pisces, which makes it difficult for you to disguise how you really feel, clashing with the sun in its last moments in your sign. And whether it is about a plan that's important to you as an individual, or needing to deal with people at work that you don't quite get, something may feel out of kilter. Also, Jupiter and Neptune come into an exact square on Thursday. Just be conscious that if you are discussing a financial matter, it's really important to stay very grounded and realistic in what your expectations are. That said, on Saturday the Sun returns to Cancer. We have the summer solstice in the north, and obviously the winter in the south. But Western tropical astrology sees this as the beginning of cardinal quadrant 2, a backdrop of energy which lasts through to the autumnal equinox. So this next quadrant is very much to do with nurture, the sign of Cancer, but the Sun combines with Jupiter. Ordinarily one of the most fortunate aspects you can get in astrology, particularly with Jupiter exalted, so blessed. It glows up in the sign of Cancer. So you could have some kind of financial breakthrough at the end of this week, but it may also be necessary to be quite persistent in terms of a plan that may require you to apply yourself for longer than just this exact moment. So if Saturn and Neptune weren't squaring up to this summer solstice, I feel the chances of you having some outright good fortune would be very strong, and it is still possible. But if you are someone who enjoys getting together with others, perhaps in some kind of informal syndicate, that might not be an area that is where you will get your type of fortune. It may be more to do with converting the ideas that you've been working hard on over the last month, or perhaps much longer back, converting those into something more tangible. And self-belief, very Jupiterian, is going to be very important to the process. So even if you do encounter some frustration at the start of this week, or someone you don't feel is very upfront or very loyal, and that's very irritating, try to keep the faith. Focus on what's important to you. Keep going through the processes in a very methodical way. Saturn and Neptune may resist some of your ideas at the moment, but if you put enough energy into trying to firm up what you've been working on in a very dynamic way for some time, you could have a significant breakthrough. Please join me at my new website at patrickarundell.com. It has been going for 24 years in total. We've given it a refresh. You can enjoy your free daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, general, love and Vedic horoscopes, but also my sensational three-card tarot. That's patrickarundell.com.